Welcome to this explainer. I am literally so excited about what we're diving into today. We're taking a journey together, but it's really not your typical one. We're going to explore some of the most extreme, totally mind-bending scientific realities of our world. And get this, we're doing it entirely through the lens of simple, hand-drawn pencil sketches inside a graph paper notebook. There's just something magical about stripping away all those hyper-realistic 3D graphics we're so used to, and instead using stark graphite lines and minimal color to wrap our heads around these massive scientific facts. So, let's open up this notebook and dive right in.
Here's the quick table of contents for our sketchbook today. First, sketching planetary disasters. Second, exploring Earth's extremes. And finally, humanity's ultimate backup plan.
Section 1. Sketching planetary disasters. These are the terrifying what-if events.
All right, so our very first page poses this massive, totally apocalyptic question. What if Earth just suddenly stopped spinning? I mean, really, imagine it. Right now, we're all hurtling through space, rotating at over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. If the planet's solid rotation were to instantly halt, the result would be absolutely catastrophic. Why? Well, because momentum would simply take over. The Earth itself might stop, but our atmosphere, it would keep moving at that original 1,000 miles an hour. You can see it captured perfectly in this sketch. Notice those specific yellow pencil arrows? They're indicating these colossal, literally supersonic winds that would instantly sweep across the globe. That lingering atmospheric momentum would tear across the surface, wiping out everything in its path. And look at the blue used for the water. This sudden shift in inertia would cause massive ocean waves to crash miles and miles inland, right over those leaning buildings. Those tiny sketched people running for their lives, they give us a perfect sense of scale. The stark black outlines make the physics of this disaster so incredibly clear. A sudden stop doesn't mean a peaceful pause. It means unstoppable kinetic destruction.
Okay, let's turn the page to our next planetary disaster. Imagine looking up into the dark night sky, and the moon is just gone. Poof. What if it vanished overnight? It's kind of a haunting thought, right? But the scientific ramifications go way, way beyond just losing our cosmic nightlight. We actually rely on the moon's gravitational pull to keep the rhythmic systems of our planet in check. Plus, the moon acts as this crucial gravitational anchor. It stabilizes Earth's axial tilt, and that's the very tilt that dictates our stable seasons. Check out this before and after comparison sketch. On the left side, we see our familiar giant ocean tides, driven by the moon's gravity pulling that blue water. But look at the after scenario over on the right, where the sketched moon is fading away into the dark sky. Notice how the yellow arrows now illustrate these significantly weaker, almost flat tides. Here's a crazy fact for you. Without the moon, the sun's gravity would still create tides, but they'd be drastically smaller, like about a third of their current size. This would lead to stagnant oceans and basically the rapid collapse of marine ecosystems. You can see the biological disaster highlighted by those confused animals drawn down below. So many species rely on the moon's phases and tidal rhythms for navigation and reproduction. Without it, as those simple yellow arrows show, there's a sudden drop in tidal forces that throws the entire biological clock of the ocean into complete disarray. Section 2. Exploring Earth's extremes. We're talking absolute physical limits here. 12 kilometers. That number represents a massive, and I mean massive, human endeavor. It's the Kola super deep borehole in Russia, which is the deepest hole ever dug by humans into the Earth's crust. Guys, it's deeper than the deepest part of the ocean. But here's the really fascinating part. The scientists didn't stop because they reached their goal. No, they stopped abruptly. So why'd they quit? Take a look at this sketch. Up at the top, you see this tiny, fragile-looking drilling rig resting on the surface line. And from there, a very deep, narrow, black line reaches far, far down through the underground layers. But notice those vivid red and orange accents right at the bottom of the shaft? As scientists dug deeper, the underground heat became extreme. It eventually reached 180 degrees Celsius. That's 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Under all that immense pressure and heat, the subterranean rock actually began to act like plastic, and the drill bits literally melted. The Earth's inner heat physically fought back and completely shut the project down. Now, let's juxtapose that massive, aggressive 12-kilometer physical depth with something incredibly intimate, an extreme of a totally different kind, absolute silence. There are soundproof anechoic chambers on Earth, like the famous one at Orfield Labs, that are so quiet, so totally devoid of acoustic reflection that they actually measure in negative decibels. It's wild. They push the very limits of human perception. It is so silent in there that a person sitting inside can clearly hear their own heartbeat.
In this illustration, we've got a single person sitting inside this heavily insulated chamber. Notice how the minimal blue and yellow sound waves just disappear right into the walls, absorbed entirely rather than bouncing back. Stripped of absolutely all external noise, the internal mechanics of your own body, like your lungs expanding and your heart pumping, which is represented by that tiny distinct red heartbeat icon, they become absolutely deafening. In fact, it's such an extreme form of sensory deprivation that sitting in this chamber for too long can actually cause your brain to create auditory hallucinations just to fill that terrifying void.
Section 3. Humanity's Ultimate Backup Plan. This is all about safeguarding our future.
Picture this, drawn out, embedded into the side of a frozen, snowy mountain is a giant, impenetrable vault door. And deep underground, rows and rows of shelves are packed with secure containers. This is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, often called the Doomsday Vault, and it is a very real place. It's hiding millions of actual seeds safely inside a frozen mountain in Norway, designed specifically to save humanity's agricultural heritage if the absolute worst planetary disasters were to actually happen. Look at how this final educational illustration brings it all together. In a cold, clinical, and highly secure world, represented by those stark black pencil lines of rock and steel, notice that single bright green plant icon. That tiny pop of green symbolizes undeniable hope. It represents survival, growth, and the successful continuation of our agricultural heritage, preserved against literally any potential doomsday scenario. It's such a striking visual contrast, and it perfectly explains a profoundly vital scientific mission to protect human life. As we close up our graph paper notebook today, I want to leave you all with a provocative thought. We've seen how simple sketches can capture everything from the Earth stopping its rotation to the deepest, hottest holes and the quietest rooms. We've even seen seeds locked away in a graphite mountain for tomorrow. So, my question to you is this. If you had the pencil, what critical piece of human knowledge or culture would you sketch into this vault for the future? What do you think is absolutely essential for our ongoing survival? Really think about that. Thank you so much for exploring these incredible scientific truths through the art of the sketch with me today in this explainer.